Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders from across the globe, and welcome to the 1129th edition of Short-Term Trading Live with Oscar Carboni, and that is obviously me. Good evening, traders. This video is being filmed on Monday night for trading Tuesday, January 28th, 2014. Traders, the 1129th installment of these very educational videos. These videos are geared to teach you the art of technical analysis, which I hope will make you a better trader. The information you are about to receive is for trading on Tuesday, Jan 28th, maybe a little into Wednesday, but we know for sure it is for Tuesday. All right, traders, so E-mini S&P, futures trading, before we get forward here, futures trading can be extremely risky, can cause substantial financial loss, is not suitable for all trading accounts, can make you lose all the money you ever had in the world. All the bad things can happen in this business. All right, disclaimer done. Traders, E-mini S&P. As you know, we were in this big bull channel, created this big bull flag. This big bull flag failed. That's why I've kind of lightened it now. And it was breached. Boom, 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 boom. It hits this big support. Follow me. This big support is a nice trend line right here. Support, support, and it was support until yesterday. Breached. So for tomorrow, it looks like it's going to become resistance. Has support become resistance? That's what it looks like is going on now. So this should become a resistance area. Take away the live trading, especially take away any live trading, and as of the settlement on Monday afternoon, we expect this to become resistance. We'll see if it breaks through. Has support, this was support, has it become now resistance where the market hits up to here and stops? We'll see. That's the daily E-mini S&P for trading on Tuesday. Let's go look at the weekly. And on the weekly, you will see that the same thing has happened. We had a major support area, and that major support area, support, has become now resistance on the weekly. Very interesting in the S&P, but at the same time, the weekly shows that if it comes off a little bit, it might find some support. So the argument tonight is that there is still more room for the downside, but do not fall in love with it. Let's continue to look forward here. There's a lot of interesting charts I want to get through. So next we will go take a scroll at your NASDAQ. NASDAQ daily bar chart up next. All right, so here's your NASDAQ daily bar chart. Traders, you can see that the support line, major support, major support, major support. The red line completely breached. The red line has been breached. Maybe the market will try to get back up to it, but that line hasn't been breached in quite some time. And there it is before your eyes, breached. So on the daily, the NASDAQ certainly looks like it's breaking down a little bit. When we take this NASDAQ out to the weekly, look at this weekly. This is a beautiful chart. Pay attention to it. This channel goes all the way back to the lows of 2008. All the way back, the big blue channel. This is the NASDAQ weekly. We got above the big blue channel. It took from 2008 all the way until just last year in December to get above this blue line. So it goes all the way back from 2008. We finally get above it in December. We come back down to test it, and what happens? We get through it this week. Is support coming? This was in last night's video, and I asked, is support coming? This didn't exist right here. So we had no bar for the week. We landed Friday. This was the weekly bar. Is support coming? That was my question. So now we add in the trading for Monday, which is the first part of this weekly bar right here. And we breached the channel from 2008. So we go from is support coming to basically support breached once again. Breached on the weekly. And yes, best if viewed in HD if you're watching these. Breached on the weekly. Now, the week isn't over, so you can't get your panties in a bunch yet, but that's a little bit troublesome. So the charts are showing that, yes, there is room for the downside. Then, of course, you broke this support line. Support, support, support. We broke that support line. Then we broke the big blue support line that goes back from 2008. If we do not get back above it quickly, we have breached support. So that's your NASDAQ. There's a few more charts to look at here. Next, we'll go take a look at the Russell. On your Russell traders, take a look at this one. Russell breaks down through the big, wonderful looking for quite some time channel that we had here. This would be the entire channel. It looked good for some time. But it got breached here once, and you can see, right? This little illustration here, it got breached once. But when it got breached, it only got down to this yellow line, the yellow line. So it breaches, gets to the yellow line, gets right back into the channel. Breaches, hasn't hit the yellow, has not hit the yellow line yet. So we have room to come down here still if you want to see, maybe test some support down here. We have room to get down here still before we decide what's going to happen next. So my point is, there is room on the daily and weekly bars to move down a little, but you don't want to get too happy with this either because we're in a big bull market. When we look at the weekly Russell, look at the weekly Russell. I mean, it doesn't have much to go before it starts to run into support. So yes, it's got enough room to drop and a lot of points, but it could run into support right here at the red line like it does whenever it gets near it. Here, here, here. Of course, it started here, up here at the top of the channel. It tends to be resistance. The bottom tends to be support. We have not hit it yet, so we'll see what happens. Tomorrow should prove to be an interesting day for trading futures, no doubt. Then we have the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Dow Jones Industrial Average on a daily bar support breach looks absolutely horrible. Not much you can say about that. Look at this great support line, right? You had support starting here, holds here, gets breached, boom. You look to the weekly on this and you go, whoa, look at this. On the weekly Dow Jones, you've got room to drop. And I think you absolutely can drop. Then you look at the Dow Jones Transportation Average and you say, well, what's going on with the tranny? The tranny has breached a major support line on the daily. Major support line breach. Look, starts here. Good resistance, good resistance, good support, good resistance, breaks and breaches support on the daily. The weekly transportation average, look at this. My infamous F flag, look what's happened. Whoa, we got under it. Now it is a weekly, we could settle above it, but we are under the infamous F flag on the weekly in the Dow. Then traders, there's the end all be all, this crazy DAX chart. What will we do with this chart? Look, is this a good hold? Will this be the bottom? Look at how many times this channel has worked in the DAX daily. Here, here. So here, here. You know, I took this one from here, here, here. Of course, you can check this one and that one. Down here, up here, then up here. Look, it holds. Then it comes down. Did it hold? On the daily, yeah, you'd have to say that. But the weekly, you go to the weekly on the DAX, and you say, well, you got a long way to go if you're going to drop. Now, the DAX is just opening, and it looks like this, which was great support, has now become absolutely, from support, it looks like it's going to become resistance. So you've had good support. It was breached. Here you are tapping into it now from underneath, so now we call it resistance. If it does not get above this resistance, you will come down here. So that's what we're looking for, traders. Remember, all these markets are intertwined. The DAX doesn't go without the U.S. markets, and, you know, there's a lot of things going on here where they all stay together. So we look at all the charts together. The weeklies and the dailies all look like they got a little bit more room on the downside, with the exception of the wild card here, this DAX. If the DAX does not get through this resistance right here, this spot, well, then it will crack. If it does get through that spot, who knows? Maybe we'll have to run for the hills in the emini S&P. All right, traders, that's what we're looking for. Again, the theme is still a little more downside expected, but not too much for trading on Tuesday. All right, traders, always remember to keep your emotions out of trading. One of the best things you can do to help yourselves with keeping your emotions at bay is to say this to yourselves every morning, every afternoon, every evening, and you know what that is. Stops are in. Emotions are out. Traders, thank you so much for watching my videos, and I'll see you at livewithoscar.com.